Hello, this is Imran Ahmad here, and this is my discussion post on my personal curation plan. And I'll talk about two different types of products that I'm trying to curate in a more meaningful way that allows me to save and archive information, but also be able to retrieve it quickly and easily, and not necessarily from the week or two prior, but a year or two or longer down the line. The two categories I'm going to talk about in this session are going to be bookmarks, the hundreds that I have that are all over the place, and the photos that have been accumulated over the years, also kind of in disarray and unorganized and not necessarily the easiest to kind of filter for exactly what I need. So we're going to take a look at each of the two categories, starting with my bookmarks. So, bookmarks. Here I have Google Chrome open with one of my Google accounts to kind of give you a baseline of where I'm at, especially in this account, of bookmarks that I have that are all over the place. I have bookmarks that are related to personal information or articles from sports to news articles that I find interesting. I also have quite a bit of links to different instructional design and model articles that have been collected over the last 16 months in the MSLDT program, as well as bookmarks for short-term items, maybe a recipe or trip planning. And a lot of those articles talked about folks having hundreds of different bookmarks and not returning to the vast majority of them, and I find myself in that category. So I've kind of rethought how my bookmarks should work. And I have three categories. One are my everyday bookmarks, such as getting to Blackboard or going to the NBA page on ESPN.com. And those bookmarks I want to maintain in my bookmark bar to easily get to when I log into a browser. Then I have my second category of bookmarks, which are going to be temporary in nature. Could be a recipe, like I said, or an interest article I just want to come back to in the next couple of days or plan on sharing with someone else, but do plan on deleting. And I think for those, I'm adding it to my reading list, which is primarily on my phone. And now the third category of bookmarks, and this is the one I want to keep long term and be able to retrieve this information. And it's not information I'm going to retrieve every day or every week. It may only be needed a couple of times a year, if at all. And those are going to be related to my professional development bookmarks I've saved, primarily in the instructional design field. Now, I have hundreds of bookmarks now, even in this category, and my goal is to start slowly, couple a day, to bring them into an application called Notion. This I've found useful when I started in week 2. I do need to start adding more in here, but this allows me to tag those long-term professional bookmarks I want to use, such as tagging it for needs analysis or task analysis or Kirkpatrick's level of evaluation or other types of evaluations. Here's Bloom's taxonomy as an example. And I want to be able to retrieve those articles quickly. And I like how my Notion account is available as an app on my computer, as an extension within my browser, and I also have it on my phone as well. For me, being able to have access to this information on multiple devices where and when I need it is important. I work on a couple of different computers. I also work on my phone. And when I need this information, it needs to be accessible for me. And this is my start. There's still quite a bit of ways to go to get a couple hundred links into Notion that's a little bit more detailed and bookmarked and categorized correctly. If anyone has any tips of organizing a couple of hundred bookmarks, I sure would appreciate that as well. One of the biggest collections of personal information I have is the photos I've taken and accumulated over the years, from personal events, trips and places I've seen, to celebrations, friends and family, and more. And finding these photos sometimes is cumbersome, especially when I'm looking for photos from a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago. But there are some unique features that help me easily find some of these photos in my Apple iCloud account, and I'm using my iPhone here, and this is the iPhone's camera roll. But everything syncs up between my phone, my PC, through the iCloud account. And let me go to the search option And some of the things I've recently discovered is Apple uses AI to kind of create and sort your photos for you in Moments, which is a collection of different photos it deems important to you. You can look for photos based on facial recognition in the people section. If you have geotagging on in your photos, you can search by places. And then Apple also assigns categories to your photos based on what it deems is in the background. And some examples it placed in my screen is lakes, art, vehicles, babies, and any photos that match that criteria are going to appear in the results. I can also search for different categories, even though I don't know what all the categories are. But one I'll put in here is beach. Let's see if Apple has attached the beach category to some of my photos. And it says for 429 photos, we think these are beach photos. Okay, there we go. I'll scroll to the bottom. There's categories, beach and beach chair. Apparently 67 I have in that category. Now these are Apple assigned, and I wanted to see, is there the ability for me to have control? And during this assignment, I discovered that there is. I can tag my photos based on one or more keywords. And let's take a look at that example. So I'm going to go back to my album, and I have a bunch of photos over here. Let's open up this one I've recently taken. And it's a photo, but what if I want to search for this 3 years from now? And I know the location, and not just the location or city, something specific, maybe a neighborhood that Apple won't be able to categorize on its own. So to tag a photo, I can click on this information icon here on the bottom of the screen. Okay. In this example, right below the photo, I've already tagged this one. This one says Briggen. It's a neighborhood where these houses are. And then Norway, the country. Now, later I can search for either Briggen or Norway, and it's going to show up all the photos that match this keyword, even if it's a partial name. So let me go back and actually find a photo that I haven't tagged yet. Here's another one from Briggen. Click on that information icon. And there, right below the photo, there's no caption here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a caption and add Briggen along with Norway. And then I'm going to click Done to save. Okay. Let me get back out of this photo. So now I have at least 2 photos with Briggen and Norway in it. So let me go back to my search functionality. And in that search bar at the top, I can search for Briggen. And you'll see it starts to show all the different tags I've already created and let me know there's 6 for Briggen, 2 for Briggen Norway, 3 for Briggen Norway, spelled a little bit differently probably. And let me just click on Briggen alone, all the different options of the different captions I added. Or if I wanted to search for Norway, that may be outside of just this one neighborhood, let me search for Norway. And I have a few more over here. So I got the ones I saw earlier, but then there's one that popped up for another city, Flam, Norway. So this is a great way for me to search by a specific neighborhood, or let me see all my Norway photos. Now, the trick is going to be going through my photos and adding these captions. But I think this is going to be great when I add captions based on my daughter's different names. I can add their ages as well. So I'm looking for their 3rd birthday party photos, or all their photos from when they were 5 or 4 years old. This will be a quick way to retrieve those results. Thank you for watching my personal curation plan.